We're tracking breaking news tonight. Lexington firefighters are trying to figure out what caused a fire that damaged an apartment building.
I think they've been in the water probably too long to get any DNA.
We've learned some new information tonight about some human remains investigators say they found in the Kentucky River.
A former Southern Kentucky football coach has been sentenced for a sexual abuse case that dates back more than 30 years.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good evening to you. Some people in a Lexington apartment building were forced out of their homes tonight because of a fire, and investigators think some children caused it.
That fire started around 9 tonight on Loch Ness Drive near East Reynolds Road. No one was injured. WKYT's Victor Puente talked to some firefighters on the scene, and he has these breaking details.
Firefighters tell me they believe this fire was set on accident. Because of the fire, a family will have to find another place to live. A major out here says the fire investigators have determined it was caused by two children playing with a lighter. The fire began in the lower apartment and it started to spread to an upper apartment. The firefighters were able to put it out from outside the building. They say the bottom apartment has heavy damage, which you can see in that video. The upper apartment has smoke damage, and they say it should be livable. They brought in multiple crews to help fight the fire because of the location in an apartment.
Multiple residences in one place, making sure everyone's out, and as often as we hear smoke alarms going off for food on the stove and such, sometimes you get numb to it, but you should treat each one seriously.
The major said he didn't know if there would be any charges. He said that would be up to fire investigators. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
And now to the weather. We had a warm afternoon across the Bluegrass today, but it looks like some changes will be moving in for tomorrow.
A week of temperature swings continues for us. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has your no-wait weather forecast.
Yeah, you know what? Today was a day of temperature swings. Some areas started out with upper 30s. We ended the day in the 70s for highs, and late evening thermometers are still deep into the 60s. A little above where we should be in a few cases for a normal high temperature. We have a warm front draped across the Ohio Valley. Look at that difference from the northern Ohio Valley and Great Lakes into the Bluegrass State as of now with those 60s. And here's that warm front. A lot of clouds. You were noticing those clouds really thickening up this afternoon. And out to our west, some gusty showers and maybe a rumble of thunder trying to get into the western part of the state. This is a cold front that is due into town as we go into the day on Thursday. It does not have a big blast of true cold air coming in behind it, but it will have just enough moisture to create some scattered showers. Watch your timeline. 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, a gusty shower or two is a possibility. The actual front doesn't arrive until we get into the middle of the day tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, you can actually see a little broken line of some showers here showing up right ahead of that front. Some holes in the clouds southeastern Kentucky suggesting a 70 is possible again tomorrow before the front gets on into town. Now coming up here with an hour-by-hour forecast at 11:13, we're going to take the cold from the actual cold front. I'll show you what I mean by that with the 7-day forecast, guys, that looks anything but Halloweenish in just a few.
We'll see you then, Chris. Thank you. A mystery continues on the Kentucky River, but tonight we've learned some new information about human remains investigators say they found in the water.
Lexington police and firefighters and the Fayette County coroner spent the entire day at the scene, which is near the Valley View Ferry. Tonight, crews also pulled some cars out of the water. WKYT's Monique Blair has the latest in our top story at 11.
After bones were found this past weekend in the Kentucky River, divers spent the day sweeping the river floor, and more bones were found Wednesday. Fayette County Coroner Gary Ginn says he does believe they are human remains.
I believe that I found bones of the lower extremity, not many, and bones of the foot, and possibly a few bones of the ankle.
About a year ago, Coroner Ginn says it was discovered that several vehicles were dumped into the Kentucky River. This past Saturday, the Lexington Fire Department was using the submerged vehicles as a training exercise, and that's when the bones were first found, inside a car. This car behind me here was pulled from the Kentucky River today here near the Valley View Ferry. Coroner Ginn tells me he's still not sure whether or not the bones that were found have any connection to that car that was pulled from the river.
We just know that when the front of the car was dragged to
where the ferry docks that we found these bones under there.
Coroner again says at this point the bones will probably be hand carried to a forensic anthropologist in Tennessee for testing.
With the bones that I've seen, I think they've been in the water probably too long to get any DNA. There is a couple of areas maybe, but I don't want to get anyone's hopes up that that might happen.
In Fayette County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Crews do not plan to search the river tomorrow as everything depends on the river's conditions. A car expert will be examining the cars that have been pulled from the river in an effort to determine their make, model, and VIN number.
New tonight, a Lexington man has been arrested on 100 child pornography charges. The Kentucky Attorney General's office says the Cyber Crimes Unit had been investigating 33-year-old Matthew Murdoch. Investigators say he used his cell phone to download and distribute pictures and videos of child sexual abuse. Investigators say they also obtained a warrant to search Murdoch's home. Also new tonight, a Powell County man has been arrested in a child exploitation case. State police say they had been investigating 35-year-old Danny Sexton of Clay City online. He's been charged with distributing obscene matter to a child and prohibited use of electronic means to procure a minor.
Today, a former Pulaski Southwestern High School football coach convicted of sexually abusing a child learned his punishment. A judge in Louisville gave Dale Anderson 10 years in prison. Last month, the jury found him guilty of sodomy and sexual abuse charges. The case stems from when Anderson taught at St. Raphael School in Louisville more than 30 years ago. Police say during that time, he sexually abused a student who was between the ages of 11 and 14. During today's sentencing, prosecutors said they added 2 other sexual abuse cases against Anderson. He has entered Alford pleas to those. New tonight, emergency crews in Garrett County are looking for a missing teenager. Investigators say that 14-year-old Jana Walkalotsi disappeared just before 7 tonight. They say she left a home on Copper Creek Road in Cartersville. They say she was last seen wearing a gray zip-up hoodie, dark jeans, and black Nike shoes. Investigators are not sure why she disappeared.
Police have arrested a Laurel County man they say shot his girlfriend 5 times at the couple's Laurel County home. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says neighbors heard 48-year-old Michael Johnson and his 29-year-old girlfriend arguing. After she went to sleep, police say Johnson woke her and the couple's 5-year-old son. They say Johnson then backed her into a corner and shot her. Police say he called 911 and told the dispatcher he shot his girlfriend but claimed it was an accident.
And so she's awake and everything right now?
Yeah, she's walking around here, getting her clothes together and stuff.
After investigating, police charged Johnson with attempted murder and wanton endangerment. They say the shooting happened in front of the couple's child. The victim was airlifted to UK hospital, but her condition is not known tonight. Another busy day on the presidential campaign trail today, which included a birthday and a grand opening.
And with the election now less than 2 weeks away, both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton took their messages to battleground states. Craig Boswell has the latest from both campaigns.
Hillary Clinton celebrated her 69th birthday campaigning in Florida and criticizing Donald Trump for attending the ribbon cutting at his new hotel in Washington, D.C.
And he once again relied on undocumented workers. The same people he has been insulting and demonizing throughout this campaign.
Trump defended the diversion from the campaign trail to his Pennsylvania Avenue hotel just blocks from the White House.
I wanted to be there for my children who worked so hard on the hotel.
Trump also made 2 campaign stops in North Carolina, where he pledged to help African Americans by rebuilding inner cities and reducing crime.
Whether you vote for me or not, I will be your greatest champion.
The Real Clear Politics average of major polls gives Clinton a more than 5-point lead over Trump. And a CBS News analysis indicates that if the election were held today, Clinton would have 18 more electoral votes than the 270 she needs. But a lot can happen between now and November 8th.
We cannot stop for a minute. No complacency here.
Early voting is underway, so make sure you get out and vote.
Sentiments both candidates can likely agree on as this election campaign reaches the home stretch. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
The Kentucky Secretary of State's office says registered voters who cannot go to the polls on Election Day because of a medical emergency may now cast absentee ballots. The medical emergency must have occurred 14 days or less before the election. If you have questions, you can contact your county clerk or the State Board of Elections.
A shocking crime in a small Kentucky community. Police say someone shot a donut shop owner in his store. What we've learned about the investigation in 9 minutes.
And then a new twist tonight in the search for a missing Fort Campbell soldier who disappeared nearly 2 months ago.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
It's the time of year you can often get some big temperature swings. That's what we're dealing with right now as you get low pressure and high pressure, and you get those two together, you get gusty winds. That's exactly what we're seeing out there right now. Take a look at the overall setup. Just want to set the stage for you right off the bat. Low pressure spinning near Chicago has a seasonal blast of chill coming in behind it. High pressure across the southeastern seaboard. Remember, winds go toward low pressure, and that is kind of sucking in all the air around us, and we just happen to be on the warm side of that low right now with 60s across the Bluegrass State into the Great Lakes and the New England states. Cold enough for snow today. Quite the temperature difference, huh, across the Ohio Valley into the Great Lakes. 57 Ashland, cool spot. 67 Prestonsburg, just down the road on 23. 67 Monticello, mid-60s across parts of central Kentucky as well, where clouds are increasing, trying to spit out a little sprinkle or an isolated shower. Better rain chances are lurking just to our west, and some of those will get into town early tomorrow morning. So it's not going to be a washout of a day, but you may finally see a little sprinkle or an out-and-out light shower. Let's break down the forecast for the next 3 days. Your Thursday outlook, windy to say the least. Those gusts tomorrow may hit 30 miles per hour with a shower or two around. Little patchy frost possible on Friday. Fog, though, may get in the way of that. Into the afternoon, temperatures mild up a little bit, gusty winds. And wait until you get to Saturday. If you like today, you're going to love Saturday. It's very similar to what we just wrapped up today. Windy conditions, some sunshine around, and those super duper warm temperatures heading into the final weekend of October. First things first, got to get through our Thursday before we get to the weekend. Temperatures tomorrow warmer in the east than everywhere else. You may hit 70 still southeastern Kentucky. Rainfall over the next couple of days. Through tomorrow, not a whole heck of a lot. I told you, don't get too excited about rain chances. I mean, look at this. It's spitting out 1/100 of an inch, 2/100 of an inch. You get the idea. It's been a dry October for the most part. Outside of one good rain event, we haven't had a whole lot to write home about. 7 o'clock in the morning, little band of some rain will be right on top of the area, and that'll carry us through noon. Look at the temperature difference, pushing 70 Williamsburg, 56 into Covington. Yeah, you can find that cold front there. Into the afternoon, temperatures start to drop into the low 60s by tomorrow evening at 11 o'clock. 40s are showing up as we go into the start of the day on Friday. A few pockets of upper 30s, everybody else 40 or low 40s with some fog. When you get fog in the morning, it helps to keep those temperatures up. Fog will burn away, and by the afternoon, similar to today, just not to that scale, we're going to warm it up from southwest to northeast. Oh, Saturday's going to be your warm day. Check out the numbers into the heart of the afternoon. 75 to 80 degrees for a high temperature on Saturday. That's absolutely crazy for the final weekend of October. Oh, it doesn't end there. We're going to keep it rolling on into Halloween and likely for the first 2 days of November. Record highs on Halloween, 82 degrees for Lexington back in 1950.
All in all, pretty good forecast, really.
Yeah, it really is. We're doing something right. All right? I mean, we had to suffer through a wet summer, but fall is kind of paying us back.
And then we'll keep
in a good
on.
way. Yeah.
Chris, thank you.
All right.
How about this? A bear found an unusual way to scratch an itch he couldn't reach, and it was all caught on camera. We'll have that in 8 minutes. New tonight, police are trying to figure out what led to a Bullitt County business owner being shot at his own store.
Police say it happened about 1 this morning at Donut King in Mount Washington. They say the owner was shot twice in the head and suffered serious injuries. So far, police have not said if they think this was the result of a robbery or something else. Friends say the victim and his family opened Donut King nearly 20 years ago.
They all work around the shop. They're just hardworking people who didn't deserve this, and this community didn't deserve this.
Police are looking for a car they say was seen on surveillance video around the store at the time of the shooting.
Police in Franklin County are looking for a robber who wore an unusual disguise. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office released surveillance video of the robbery, which happened Sunday night at Evergreen Market on Evergreen Road. Investigators say the robber pointed a gun at the clerk and demanded money.
The clerk is saying that it was a woman. We believe that it is a man that was dressed as a woman as part of his disguise.
Investigators say the robber also covered his body in white powder or some kind of paint. They also say he waved the gun around carelessly and even pulled the hammer back on the gun before leaving. No one was injured during that robbery.
New tonight, the Army says that 2 persons of interest are now in custody in connection to the disappearance of a Fort Campbell soldier. Investigators say that no one has heard from 25-year-old Private First Class Shadow McLean since September 2nd. They say her car was later found in downtown Nashville, but there have not been any other clues. Investigators say the persons of interest are also Fort Campbell soldiers. McLean's family is pleading for answers.
It's just hard. Somebody knows something, and I wish they would come forward and tell us.
And the Army says McLean worked as an air traffic control tower operator.
Tonight, authorities in Italy are still assessing the full impact of 2 strong earthquakes that rocked parts of the country today. The earthquakes, magnitudes 5.4 and 6.1, happened about 2 hours apart. There have been no reports of serious injuries from either earthquake, but heavy damage has been reported in one town, and electricity has been knocked out in parts of Italy. Authorities aren't sure if these are new earthquakes or aftershocks from a 6.2 magnitude earthquake in August that killed nearly 300 people. New tonight, a Minnesota judge has ruled a woman and girl who claim to be relatives of the late singer Prince will not be considered heirs of his estate. Brianna Nelson and her niece, Victoria Nelson, said they were related to a man they claimed was Prince's half-brother. But court documents say Prince and that man were not related. So the judge excluded the Nelsons as Prince's heirs as a matter of law. Prince died in April. His estate is estimated to be worth more than $100 million.
A bear in Washington State found some unusual help when he had an itch he couldn't quite scratch. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife released this video taken from a trail camera. It shows the bear walking up to a tree, then standing on his hind legs and using the tree to scratch his back. He then walks away. Wildlife leaders in that area say black bears are getting ready to hibernate for the winter.
You just hate it when you have that scratch.
I know, you just got to kind of, and he's so big, you let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, a big night, Rob, in the NBA for next Wildcats.
Oh, was it ever? What a way to start off the season for one of the best players in the league. And the Cats defense getting ready for an offense that will play fast, really fast. Sports is next on WKYT. The Cats head for Missouri this weekend, where they go for their 5th win of the season. They can move to within 1 of being bowl eligible. Missouri has really struggled, winning just 2 games, winless in the SEC. Offensively, Mizzou can present a lot of problems, throwing the ball and running it. The Tigers are capable of running over 100 plays in a game, but the Tigers have had trouble finding consistency.
I think like any team, you know, you have your good days and your bad days, and when they execute and they're on rhythm, boy, they're tough to stop, you know. And then days or games when they're not, sometimes they can make mistakes that put them behind the chains, and maybe they don't play as well. So, you know, they're a team that has a lot of weapons, and when they are on rhythm, they're very tough to stop.
Safety Marcus McWilson came up big last weekend against Mississippi State. This interception on the first play of the 4th quarter as Kentucky went out to a 10-point lead. Mark Stoops says he's been hard on McWilson. The two are from the same hometown, Youngstown, Ohio, and he sets the bar high.
It definitely is hard, I'd have to say, but nothing I can't handle, nothing I don't think anybody can handle. It's great. You got somebody in your corner and someone that will tell you the truth no matter what it is, no matter what you want to hear. He's not somebody to just toot his horn and just blow smoke up you. He'll tell you how it is. I mean, if you're doing bad, if you're doing good, he'll definitely give you a pat on the back as well. So I appreciate that. 3.5 years of hard coaching, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So that's just that.
Cats and the Tigers this weekend from Columbia. Saturday kickoff at noon on the SEC Network. John Calipari's team plays its first exhibition Sunday night as Clarion comes into Rupp Arena. Since last week's blue-white game, Cal has been putting in his three-guard lineup with Isaiah Briscoe, De'Aaron Fox, and Malik Monk. And he's also looking at what the possibilities are if he decides to go big.
We got to figure out some defensive teams and, how we're going to play. What about a big lineup? Is Wenyen the three? Is he and Derek in together some? Now you're 6'9", 6'9", and a big guy. Now you're really big. Do you play some zone with that team? No.
Clarion is Cal's alma mater. Game will tip off at 7 o'clock Sunday. It's on the SEC Network. It was ACC Media Day down in Charlotte. This is Louisville point guard Quentin Snyder answering questions. Cardinals are picked to finish fourth in the ACC. Duke is the overwhelming favorite to win the conference with North Carolina second and Virginia third.
This year's team is very athletic. We're shooting the ball real good. Just the team is very fast, athletic, and we changing the style that we played last year, getting up and down the court and changing the defense to like a man-to-man defense, pressing the whole game.
Anthony Davis showing off his game as New Orleans open the season against Denver. Down the lane for the slam, and then the jumper from out on the floor. 50 tonight for AD, 16 rebounds to go with it. He also had 7 steals and 4 blocks, but turned out to be a losing effort. Denver wins it 107-102. And the rain holding off for the most part for Game 2 of the World Series tonight in Cleveland. And the Cubs striking first tonight, first inning. Anthony Rizzo, extra bases to right. Chris Bryant comes in to score, and it's 1-0 Chicago. On to the third, Kyle Schwarber, who has had the hot bat, kept it up tonight. Single into center, Rizzo scoring, it's 2-0 Cubs. Then in the fifth, Ben Zobrist rips one into the right field corner. This went for a triple. Cubs score 3 times in the fifth. Chicago goes on to win it 5-1. Series all even now at a game apiece. We'll be right back.
All right, a little bit of change tomorrow for
Yeah,
us.
we're going to be back to normal with temperatures in the 60s. Could be a shower or two. A lot of the day is dry. Those winds can top 20 to 30 miles per hour. Then look at your Halloween weekend. 70s are back.
Saturday, pretty nice, too.
Upper 70s. We may hit 80.
Another reason to look forward to the weekend.
Awesome. Thanks for watching tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.